Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here today to celebrate the size of this W. The title is not clickbait. You are not hallucinating. Delta Force actually removed AI from Havoc Warfare. But that isn't all, because they also gave us a lot more details of what to expect when the game releases on December 5th, and if I can be so transparent, we actually have something to look forward to, because if they didn't announce that they removed AI from the Battlefield mode, I and many other people would have lost a lot of confidence in Delta Force as a game, but thankfully, we don't have to do that now. So sit back, relax, type a W in the comment section, and be sure to hit the like button, as it really does help the video out, and subscribe to the channel if you're going to be following Delta Force and any other FPS games such as Battlefield. I already told you they removed AI, but let's hear it directly from the developers themselves. This was taken from a live stream earlier today.
It looks like, I guess, a couple weeks at this point, less than a month.
So that's the big one.
Yeah.
From the launch of our PC open beta on December 5th, Warfare game modes will feature on only real players. There is no bots. Moreover, we will offer a dedicated PvE mode where you can only you and your scoremates are real players, and all the others are bots. So you can drive vehicles, and the vehicle cooldowns will be significantly reduced in this mode. So it's a perfect option to improve your skills.
Yeah, that's another mode, right?
Yeah, that's another mode.
Yeah.
That's the bot mode.
In the regular mode, there will be no bots.
No bots, only real players.
So there it is, guys. They did it. They made the correct decision, and I think they made a pretty awesome compromise, because so you can play the normal mode and there will only be human players, how it's supposed to be, but there will be a sort of a practice mode where your entire team is real players, but the entire enemy team are bots, and you can use that to practice vehicles or just, whatever you want to do. If you played Battlefield 2042, it is sort of similar to the way where you can just start a bot game and then play against bots by yourself. That is how this is basically going to work. And before I switch gears and talk about the other very important things that they mentioned today, I just want to say, hey, you people that wanted them to keep bots in the multiplayer, screw you, man. No, really, screw you. Stop it, all right? Get a fucking grip. Put your brain back in your skull. I'm glad Delta Force made the correct decision, and if anything, this really does bolster confidence in them moving forward. Now, on to the other very important information. They gave us sort of a content timeline and how often we can expect content to drop for Delta Force. And this may be controversial, because I do think the content is actually on the lacking side, but there certainly are different ways of looking at this. So if we take a look at what they showed us, they said there's going to be a big patch every 3 months. And then in every big patch, there's going to be one new playable operator, one new Havoc Warfare map, which is the Battlefield mode, and new game modes, vehicles, and weapons. And then every year, we get a new Warfare mode. And I assume this means something completely new to the game. Perhaps a BR, there's already extraction shooter, there's already a Battlefield mode. It does not mean a new game mode such as like domination or something. Now, I mentioned the content here seems to be lacking, and yes, I will say that I would have loved to have seen 2 maps for the Battlefield mode and 2 maps for the extraction mode, but that's what you have to remember. They're also going to be simultaneously updating the extraction mode in every big patch as well. So if you play both the Battlefield and the extraction mode, the content may not be lacking, but if you play just only one of those modes, the content will probably feel like it is lacking. But objectively speaking, 1 map every 3 months is, that's like Battlefield 2042 level content. You know what I mean? Really is. It's not that much. And I think on launch, we can expect 5 Havoc Warfare maps, and I think, correct me in the comment section, maybe like 3 or 4 extraction maps. I don't really know. I'm not that well informed on the extraction shooter side of things. But that will be fixed in the coming week, because they also announced that this next week of information will be dealing with the extraction shooter mode, which in my opinion is probably their main focus even over the Battlefield mode. One massive point that I want to really hammer home here is the importance of them removing AI happening before the game launches. They completely avoid all of that launch criticism because they timed the decision of this correctly. They didn't drag their feet. like so many other developers seem to do, even though they can probably see the impending doom looming over their game, knowing they aren't going to make the decision people want quickly enough. I've said this for many years at this point, first impressions of video games matter more than ever before, and it is great to see that Delta Force is aware of that, it seems. So with the big AI question mark unquestion marked, we get to discuss other things that we would like to see changed with Delta Force in the next coming months. And I think a big obvious one for me is the gunplay. I think the gunplay needs massive overhauls, but I think it's also very simplistic to fix. I understand gunplay is going to be one of those things that generates just a lot of different opinions, but I think once people play in a full server full of real players, the gunplay will become more of an obvious issue to the general player base than I think a lot of people are admitting right now. And if you experienced Battlefield 2042 in its earlier states, you have already gone through this very problem. You guys remember LMGs and ARs and even submachine guns reaching out to 100, 120, 150 meters with insane accuracy. But Delta Force's problem is even worse than that because the weapons can reach out even slightly farther over to like 170 and 180 meters, and you can head glitch wherever you want, which means you can die from anywhere pretty much up to 180 meters away to a tiny little head sticking out of wherever they're in cover. That is a massive, massive problem. And the solution to this is very simple. Very, very simple. You need to introduce a spread system into the game. That's just the only solution. You can't really adjust attachments on weapons, because if you make the recoil too high, people are going to complain, and people aren't going to be able to shoot weapons. We see this problem in PUBG, which is why even PUBG reduced recoil after so many years. Realistically, all Delta Force would need to do is reduce the engagement ranges by copying the spread system in Battlefield 3 or 4, but allowing for significantly longer bursts, like bursts of 8 to 10, maybe 8 to 12 shots, before you have to burst fire again to regain accuracy. And of course, because suppression doesn't affect gunplay in Delta Force, you won't have to worry about suppression amplifying your spread like you did in Battlefield 4 and in Battlefield 3 and even in Battlefield 1. But here's where the complications show themselves. The problem with Delta Force making changes to their gunplay is the gunplay is the same for two different modes, meaning it's in the extraction mode and in the Battlefield mode. So what do you do? Because the gunplay for the extraction mode isn't a problem. And the reason it's not a problem is you don't have 32 real humans trying to kill you from crazy positions. You only have maybe a few in that server, which means you just encounter much less BS at a much lower rate. So the question is, do they really want to have two different gunplay systems in the same game? Probably not. I think the only way they could go about this is you just make a blanket change to the gunplay across both modes, and it's going to be very difficult to find a compromise that both player bases will enjoy. So ultimately, I think they might never make any changes to the gunplay, which is, again, that's still a problem. But ultimately, it might just be one of those things that we have to deal with. Really, it might turn out to be that sort of problem. Aside from the gunplay, there are a few other key things that I would love to see them change. I would love to see them improve the fluidity of the movement. I think that has a lot to do with the stance transitions. The way it is right now, you kind of have to choose which action you want to do rather than being able to perform multiple actions at once. And that really, really harms the fluidity of the game. And I think that would be a very easy fix. I mean, an example of this is allow me to throw a smoke grenade while I'm proning. Allow me to throw a smoke grenade while I'm standing up. You know, the way it is right now, you have to throw the smoke, then prone, or prone, then throw the smoke. I just don't think that's necessary, and they could really fix that very quickly. So that is going to wrap this video up, ladies and gentlemen. Overall, I'm feeling a lot better about Delta Force. My confidence has been restored to a decent level, and I am actually looking forward to the release of the game now. You know, I was a little dejected there. I was like, well, you know, I don't know if they're going to make the right decision. They're really not communicating clearly about this. But, you know, they came out and they rectified the situation, and I am satisfied with this. Definitely let me know what you think in the comment section about all this news, and of course, hit the like button, helps the video out tremendously, have to really emphasize that there, and subscribe to the channel if you want to follow Delta Force or any other FPS games. Thank you guys so much for watching, and drop by the streams, as I stream every single day, and you can bet that I'll be live on the release day of Delta Force.
come up.